So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I go about making painting panels. Hi, welcome to Paint Coach. I'm Chris Fornatero, here to help simplify oil painting so you can get better, faster. Painting panels. There's kind of two basic types out there. There's the kind that has canvas or linen attached to it, and it's got the weave of the canvas, and that's why people tend to go with the canvas or linen. They like the texture of it. And the second type of panel is wood that is just gessoed on the front. People will go with this over the canvas or linen because they like the smoother texture. Also, it's a lot cheaper and easier to make. And since I like to keep things simple, I'm going to show you how I go about making this kind. All right, so there are a ton of videos on YouTube about how to make the linen panels, and they are really good panels. If I had my way, I would paint on them all the time, but it's just not economically possible for me to buy that many panels for as much as I paint. And the process of making it is so time consuming and requires a lot of materials. You gotta buy linen, which is very expensive, and it's just not worth it for me in the way I'm set up to make my own linen panels. And I just want to say that because just because you see videos on YouTube or you see ways of making these nice linen panels, and they are great panels and they are making them correctly, you got to be realistic for your own situation and how much you're painting and how much money you have to spend, how much time you're willing to spend to make these panels. For a while, I didn't make panels, I just bought them. And yeah, it would have been cheaper for me to make them, but I just wasn't set up to make panels. So I just bought them. It just was easier for me to pay a little extra money and just buy good quality panels. I also wasn't painting on panels every single day, so it's not like I needed, 5 panels a week, which could get very expensive. All right, so you're gonna wanna go to your local hardware store, and you're gonna go to the lumber section. You're gonna find these boards, and you're looking for birch plywood or maple plywood, 1/4 inch thick. Then you're gonna take the one you choose to the saw in the back, and you're gonna get an employee to help you cut it into the dimensions you want. After that, you're gonna get some fine grit sandpaper, and then some shellac to seal the wood from any moisture getting in. You can get a brush if you want texture with your gesso, or you get the foam brush if you don't want much texture. Then you go to Michael's and you get your gesso. All right, so first off, I'm gonna be sanding the edges here where he cut the board, making sure they're all nice and smooth. Now this is the back of the board. And now I'm spraying the sealer on the back of the boards. Next is the gesso with my foam brush. You're gonna do 3 coats. You're gonna put 1 coat, you're gonna let it dry for about 20 or 30 minutes. Make sure it's completely dry. You're gonna sand it, and then you're gonna put another coat on. Then you're gonna get some Artist Retouch varnish. I got mine on Amazon because it is cheaper, but you can also find it at Michael's. And we're gonna use this to make the wood less absorbent. So I'm gonna take my varnish, and I took some burnt sienna, because I like to tone my panels with some burnt sienna. And then I pour a little bit of the varnish on the panel, and then I rub it in with a paper towel. Now, the more varnish you use, the less absorbent it will be. So you'll kind of have to gauge that and figure out what you like best, but just like a normal amount, it should work fine. So after a day or 2 of drying, you are ready to paint. Now I was able to make 10 9x12 panels, and now these are good, sealed, won't warp, good quality panels for a total of $48. And that includes materials that I will be able to use again for another batch of panels, like the varnish and the gesso. That comes to about $4.80 a panel, which is very, very cheap for a good quality panel. Well, I hope you enjoyed my video on painting panels. Hope it kept things simple and encouraged you to go out there and make your own and paint even more. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.